Good morning on this beautiful crisp morning. About 40 degrees out here, a little chilly. Just waiting for the Uber outside of the Airbnb. With just one full day here, it's going to be hard to get to a lot of things, but I'm going to try to get in the big stuff like Charles Bridge and the Astronomical Clock and old towns and so on. So we will check in from the bridge and see how much we do. Alright guys, made it to Charles Bridge. One of the most famous, of course, landmarks in the city. And boy oh boy, I kind of wish at times like this that selfies were never invented and selfie sticks. It's just amazing. But here we go. The bridge dates back to the 13th century. And 14th century was completed, and it spans the river Vltava. It's easy to say. VLTAVA. Yeah, that's pretty beautiful. Very wide. Might be fun to take a little river cruise of that. All of these statues are now replicas of 13th and 14th century. The bridge itself connects the castle areas with Old Town. And the city is divided into several distinct sections. Okay, made it to the Astronomical Clock. Absolutely stunning architecture. Let's see what this is all about. Hundreds of people in line. On the hour, every hour, some interesting things happen. The apostles rotate around those upper windows, and then these side figures begin the whole show. And on the far left there, they represent vanity with the mirror, greed with the gold coins. Then over here is a skeleton representing death, and then that last guy is representing earthly treasures, it said, and another form of greed, I guess. And that's the Astronomical Clock itself, which does all kinds of cool things. This was renovated just in 2018, opened just a couple weeks ago, actually. So the look was there. The windows as well as the figures are all encased in a screen to keep the pigeons away. And we're just a few minutes away from the show. Okay, it's about ready to go. The show will start with the skeleton ringing the bell and telling the other three that it's time to go. Time to start their deal. Boy, the weather's beautiful today. It's been, 2 months and I've been able to escape rain, just barely. It was raining in Dubrovnik when I left. Very cool today, though. All right, the show is about to start. The skeleton starts right there. Pulling the signal. And there come the apostles. They just circle around. A little shaded there on the left. Just the sea of humanity here. Very different from the first month and a half of my trip when, you know, I was sort of the only tourist. But I guess I was spoiled. This is like Disneyland crowds waiting in line for Space Mountain or something. I don't know. Prague is an absolutely stunning city. Architecture, just amazing. I suppose it sounds a little snotty, but the crush of tourists kind of takes away from it all. I've read several times that the mid-90s, after communism fell and before tourism hit, was the time to visit Prague. And now, of course, it's overrun by Starbucks and McDonald's, and literally a couple million people per year. But if you just kind of try to focus on the beauty, then it's cool. All right, guys, I've seen a lot of these statues and squares, but this is one of the more unique. Hey, this is one of the more unique. He's just kind of hanging there, floating. Right on. Woo! That can't be easy. So the Charles Bridge divides the city into two major chunks there at the river. There is Old Town on the other side where I spent most of the day. Then this is Lesser Town, totally different architecture. And I had lunch right over there. Anyway, time to pack, so headed back home, if you will. Good evening, all packed up here in Prague. It's so interesting, I've been meaning to mention, with it being Halloween season, it's been fascinating over here because there's not been one pumpkin, not one jack-o'-lantern, and nothing is decorated. Nothing. In the last 2 months in 14 countries, I haven't seen a single Halloween item. Interesting. Kind of cool, really. They just let fall be fall, I don't know. The other thing I have not seen over here are a single one of those ridiculous, dangerous scooters that have invaded American cities coast to coast. Not one. I'm not quite sure what that says either, but it's pretty cool. And man buns, my other pet peeve. I think I've seen 2 of them on the entire continent in 2 months. So no desire to sort of chop them off on this end. Anyways, just some little interesting factoids. I'll be thinking of a few others that I've been wanting to mention. Oh, and Lori had mentioned too. I'm sure those of you that notice, if any, have noticed that I'm normally in either a gray or a black t-shirt. Well, yes, I have more than 1 or 2. I packed, I think, 6 of them. The type that dry overnight, because on a trip of this length, of course, you do laundry over and over. So there are quick dry things like t-shirts and yes, even underwear and stuff like that that makes the whole traveling thing a little bit easier when you're on the road for this long. Anyway, yeah, lots of information there. But tomorrow, it's hard to believe, it's off to Helsinki, where it all began August 22nd, over 2 months ago. So I will report in tomorrow night from Helsinki, and hopefully we will get a good day of touring in there. So until then, you guys, see you later. Good night.